Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Today is Monday, December 1st, 2025. If you like this video at any point, please hit the like button. Anyway, we are being presented with some incredible tidbits of wisdom from Kaja Kallas, the High Representative of the European Union, the top diplomat, the person who is supposed to be able to know how to navigate situations with aplomb, and who understands history, understands the needs and of different countries, and more than anything else, she needs to be able to show respect and dignity in that role of top diplomat. So anyway, Kaja Kallas had mentioned in a few days before that Russia needs that the European Union needed to limit the size of the military of Russia and their military budget. So she implies that by her statement. And anyway, here she is, all confident about how she feels about the limiting the size of Russia's military and military budget.
If we want to prevent this war to continue, then actually we should, curb the army of Russia and also their military budget.
So we, meaning her, meaning van der Leyen, meaning everyone in the European Union. So basically, the European Union is there to tell Russia what the size of their military budget is and the size of their military, and that is incredible. I wonder if she's going to do the same for China, for India, for the United States. Maybe she'll do that for Israel. Maybe she'll do that for Mexico. Maybe she'll do that for Brazil, Argentina, Chile, maybe for South Africa. So anyway, do you think anyone in China, India, South Africa, Argentina, Chile, Brazil want Kaja Kallas or the European Union to tell them how big their military can be or their military budget? So we have really someone going out on the limb, doing anti-diplomacy. So she's supposed to be the top diplomat. She's doing the opposite. She's kind of making a fool out of herself. But anyway, she's not done yet. So don't close the video yet. And I think the question was legitimate. And she had this opportunity. She had lost her marbles. And she had the opportunity to collect her marbles, or some of them, and to restore some sense that she's actually a diplomat and not some Russophobe. But anyway, this goes horribly wrong, so let's listen to it and then I'll come back again. Here we go.
Is that if there's going to be a pressure on Ukraine's army that hasn't invaded anybody, then there should also be pressure on Russian army, and really the Russian army is the one that is actually a risk to everybody. And I'm not talking about European countries, but all the neighboring countries of Russia. If you look at those 19 countries that they have invaded in last 100 years.
So there we go, the tidbit of wisdom. Okay, the 19 countries that Russia has invaded in the last 100 years. Can you please make a list of the 19 countries that Russia has invaded in the last 100 years? Where was Russia in the year 1980? The modern state of Russia did not exist in 1980. Where was the modern state of Russia in 1960? The modern state of Russia did not exist in 1960. Where was the modern state of Russia in 1930? The modern state of Russia did not exist in 1930. And in 1920, so we're looking at the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is not Russia. The Soviet Union was a collection of countries that had their political center in Moscow, but the Soviet Union was led by leaders from several of the participants of that collection of countries, And at the end, the Soviet Union collapsed under the weight of its own bad economic decisions. And so the modern state of Estonia, of Latvia, Lithuania, all these countries that were Soviet states, they all became independent states. Russia became a modern state of Russia. What the modern state of Russia does has nothing to do with the Soviet Union. Now, if you want to historically take one and throw it in with the other in one big pot, that is a historical argument that is basically a faux pas in history. That's like taking Mongolia, the modern state of Mongolia, and throwing it in with Genghis Khan. Or that's taking the modern state of Japan and throwing it in with the military government during World War II. So there are different realities. You can't just throw them in together as if there were one reality. And so you have to have somebody who is not only understanding history, but is moved by objective fact and objective realities. But Kaja Kallas is so moved by her hatred of Russia that she can't operate outside of this, Russia-phobe application of history. Now, she said that Ukraine has not invaded anyone. Well, I got news for you. The Oblasts and Crimea declared independence from Ukraine, and they were invaded by Ukraine. Okay, you can nitpick and debate about the actual, what happened first, what happened next, what happened the other. But in 2014, there was a revolution in Ukraine, the Maidan Revolution, and after that Maidan Revolution, there was a puppet government installed by the United States. That puppet government, installed and controlled by the United States, began acting in a very anti-ethnic Russian way, and the ethnic Russian areas of Ukraine declared independence. Ukraine invaded them, began bombing them, shelling their cities, killing civilians, killing leaders, and so they formed armies to defend themselves. And I'm not going to go into the whole history, but we can't give a pass to Ukraine as saying they have never invaded anyone. So you can have a nitpicking debate about exact dates and what happened first, what happened next, but the ethnic Russian Oblasts declared independence from Ukraine. Ukraine invaded them. Whether Ukraine was already in those areas or not, attacking them is irrelevant because the people of those oblasts declared independence. So essentially, they had acted in accord with the United Nations in order to achieve independence, and that independence was not accepted by Ukraine. But in any case, you can nitpick about that. But if you go back and this whole idea that Russia has invaded 19 countries in the last 100 years is ridiculous. Even if you go into ChatGPT and you put in the question, how many countries has Russia invaded in the last 100 years? And even if they threw in the Soviet Union into that pot, you wouldn't get to 19 countries. I don't know where she gets that from, but she has a special, I guess, she has a special tutor on Russian or Soviet history who's quite slanted and can make up things all over the map. So anyway, I just thought I would bring that to you. And if she's going to be the top diplomat, she can't lose her marbles. She has to get her facts right. And especially she can't be telling countries about what size of military they can have, the size of their military budget. No one's going to listen to her. And the only thing is she's making a fool of herself, and she's making the European Union look ridiculous. So anyway, I find this individual to be quite a downgrade to any diplomatic efforts that the European Union could attempt to make. I'm sure they can find someone who can do a little better job. And the fact that her dad was a Soviet boss in the financial sector should help her to understand that the Soviet Union is quite a different reality from the modern state of Russia. But if that doesn't help her at all, nothing will. So anyway, I'll conclude that video there. And if you like this video, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And I thank you again for joining me for this report. Have a great day. Bye-bye.